So no house hunt is complete without tombstones in the front yard. So I want to take you through the process that I go through, the lessons that I've learned, and the tools that I use to go from foam like this to finished stones like this. When I start with a 4x8 sheet, I draw out the tombstone shapes, and I need something to cut those out. So I just use a jigsaw. This is the Craftsman bolt-on system. This is nice because it allows you to add in multiple attachments depending on what it is you're trying to create. The jigsaw here has a high tooth count wood blade on it, and this thing cuts through the 2-inch foam no problem. Next up I have the Sureform. This thing is pretty much a cheese grater on a handle. This works really good for planing and getting a nice smooth side and kind of getting more detailed in the shape of the tombstone itself. This is super cheap. I got it at Home Depot in the tool section for a couple of bucks. Definitely worth having in your arsenal. Tools for measuring. Have a ruler. Also a tape measure. This is a self-centering tape measure, which is really nice because when you actually pull out here and you measure to say like 8 inches, underneath the number gives you the center point, which is 4 inches. So it always shows you underneath the halfway point of your measurement. So it's called self-centering, and it comes very helpful for creating the lines that you're going to use to place and align up your text or your designs. For the detail work, I use a Dremel. This Dremel has a router attachment on it, and the bits are wood carving bits, and they work really good. You set up pretty much maybe 1/8 of an inch, about 1/8 of an inch, and are able to really carve in a lot of detail into the foam. Here you can see I've used that bit to actually carve out some accents to the post here on this cross. Tools for detailing. Exacto blades are very handy. I like to use these particular kind because they have a long blade in where you can break off the tips, but if you pull it all the way out, you get a nice pliable blade that allows you to do some nice carving and allow you to get really good shapes. You can see here I used it to create this kind of bone here in the cross, and cutting inside here at an angle and getting a nice curve and swoosh is a good way to start your shape. When you're trying to figure out your sizes, don't worry about them all being the same. I think it actually looks better when you have some tall, short, medium, fat ones all kind of scattered out, because not everybody has the same tombstones when you go to these graveyards. They're all kind of unique and customized for that person. So some examples here are this short squatty one here, and I actually doubled it up. So it's actually 2 pieces of 2-inch foam that have been glued together. Gives it a little bit thicker, more robust look to it. Here's one's a little bit taller. It's just thin with the 2-inch cutout and pretty basic round top. This one's got a little bit more decorative top on it, where I've kind of cut in a curve, flattened it, and then hit around. And I tell you, using like a bowl or a plate or something like that to get these nice round angles is totally doable. Again, 2-inch foam. This seems to work the best. The thinner foam, it works okay, but it's a little flimsy, so I like to go with the thicker stuff. Here's another one. It's got a little bit more of a dome on top. And again, just cut out 2-inch foam right there. And then I've got a big one I'm working on right here with the base. Again, 2-inch foam, 2 and 2, so it's 4 inches thick. A great way to get your text and designs onto the tombstone is to do a heat transfer onto the foam board surface. This will only work with toner-based printing, so I printed everything out at home on my inkjet, and then I have Xerox copies made at my local FedEx Kinko's. You need to print out your material flipped horizontally because you're heating the paper from the back side, and the toner will bond with the film covering the foam, giving you a mirrored transfer. Run a few test transfers on a spare piece of foam to make sure you have the heat set and you're getting good results. Don't expect the transfer to come out perfect. You may get some of the paper stuck on the board and some of the letters will be more faded than others, but that's okay. The point is to get a rough template for you to work from. And this process is much less tedious than tracing the letters and designs by hand. Once I get my name and epitaph on the surface, I delicately route out the outlines using the Dremel. You don't have to go very deep into the foam to get a good etched effect. So hopefully this information helps you guys get going on the carving of your tombstones. I want to do another video on the painting because there's all these different processes that can go on with that. So I'll do that at a later time. But I just wanted to make sure you guys understood the different materials and the kind of tools that I found useful when I was creating these things myself. So I will try to leave as many helpful links in the description below. And again, thanks for watching.